Welcome, everyone. I wanted to say a few concluding words about the topic of dealing with negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, doubts, morbid thoughts, fears, naughty thoughts. That's right. All manner of fantasy, revenge fantasy, sexual fantasy, and images that flit across the mind. Now, I want to say a couple of little things preliminarily. First of all, there is a spiritual dimension to these things. For example, someone once said very aptly, if your thoughts were your thoughts, if they were really your thoughts, then you could control them at will. You could simply stop them at will. But because you can't, there are other factors involved. Do you remember where I said earlier in this little talk, I said that our mind, our intellect, our imagination is like a no man's land. And there's a lot going on there. And it comes in from the outside, like a radio. Like if you have a radio sitting on the table, you turn the dial to various places and things come into it. And in such a way, your mind is like that. Now, if your soul, Christ said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. Well, if you were so intent, dedicated to the truth, and you can be by loving the truth, do you understand that your soul has only one power to incline toward one way or another, to incline toward believing truth or believing lies? And when your soul inclines toward the truth, the rest of your life, then, is moving in that direction. But if your soul inclines towards lies, then you will move in that direction. Now, the mind is also so constituted that you can't really be of two minds about something because it causes conflict. You can't believe truth and lie at the same time. You can't love and hate at the same time. You can't serve two masters at the same time. So if you're inclining toward one, believing one, then your mind is so constituted that it will then build defenses against the other. It will be opposed to the other. It will reject the other. Do you understand? And that's why when people start to believe lies, no matter how you argue against their lie, they don't believe you. Do you see how the soul, it believes, and then when it believes, then it builds a structure based upon that, in this case, misbelief. So what I'm saying is that whatever gets into your mind then begins to build a structure there. Now, I said there are spiritual factors. There is good and evil. You knew that when you were a little child. There's the bright side of the Force, as they said in Star Wars, and the dark side of the Force. And they exist. Okay? And in a sense, you are like a pawn in a war that goes on in the realms between good and evil. And you're like a pawn. You can incline one way or the other. Now, there's one very little beautiful, sweet, and powerful thing that you have going for you, and that is that if you love God, if you love the truth, even though you yourself may not be true, if you love what's right, even though you yourself are not right, you see what I mean? Then there's hope for you. What will happen is that you will go through life and your conflict will increase. You will want to do right but not know how to do right. You will continuously be tripped up by other people and by your thoughts and by doubts and worries and fears. And where do you suppose they come from? Have you ever wondered why? Remember what I said. If they were your thoughts, you could control them at will. But since you can't, they're obviously not your thoughts. Now, what is their purpose? Have you ever noticed how they are always trying to trip you up in some way? They want to make you feel wrong. They want to make you feel guilty. They want to make you afraid. They want to make you anxious. See? They want to make you troubled. They want you to have conflict. They want to lead you into doing the wrong things, which you know are wrong. And they support you in your wrong. Say, you're wrong. Let's say you get up in the morning and you go downstairs or wherever, and there's your husband or your wife or your child or something, and they say something, and you get angry, and then you say something mean. Well, you're wrong for being angry and saying something mean, so you're wrong. But look at your thoughts. Look at how thoughts rise in your mind along with emotions, rise to defend you, to come up with ideas about them and why they're wrong, and why they're guilty, and why they are inconsiderate, and why they are thoughtless, and why they are ungrateful. And thoughts rise to defend you, that you're tired, you had a bad day, you're doing the best you can, nobody appreciates you. Do you see? So you have to come to the conclusion that these thoughts do not have your best interest at heart. They seem to support you when you're wrong and oppose you when you're right. Just when you're about to do the right thing, a noble thing, the thoughts rise. Well, what if this? What if that? You might lose this benefit. You might lose that perk. They rise to try to rob you of confidence. Do you see? They trip you up. Now, I want you to also understand that these thoughts can be very, very subtle and highly intelligent in a way, in a cunning sort of a way, that you will go to your ruination. If you try to overcome them by your own efforts, if you struggle with them, then you will go down in defeat. I want you to hear something very astute said by Hezekias, the priest, the desert father Hezekias, who wrote the beautiful essay on watchfulness and holiness, which you can find in the Philokalia. He said, "The intellect cannot conquer a demonic fantasy by its own unaided powers, and should never attempt to do so. The intellect cannot conquer a demonic fantasy by its own unaided powers, and should never attempt to do so." So now we come to the meditation, which I always talk about. I always come back to the meditation and what the meditation teaches you. And what does it teach you? It teaches you to stand back and watch. It teaches you not to get involved, not to float away with the thought on the one hand, nor struggle with it on the other. Watch, question, wonder, wait. You see? Watch, wonder, wait. And do not enter the fray. Let God deal with it. If there's a thought flitting by, remember how I said thoughts flit by? Images, musical jingles, words, phrases, notions, they flit by. And they're just like naughty schoolboys, remember? You watch them. Watch them. And they go away. Why? Because when you are a little bit detached and a little bit meditative, you know, when you do your little meditation first thing in the morning, and then at noon for a couple minutes, and then in the evening, you carry that with you. It's a little bit of detachment, a little bit of aloofness, so that your soul is a little bit outside of time. Then when something flits by, it doesn't bother you. You don't react to it emotionally. You're not pulled in. See, if you're pulled into, look, you can see that if somebody is trying to pull you into an argument, they're saying various things that are designed to get you angry and get you pulled into an argument. You can see that, right? And you can also see why you should not get into the argument. Well, it's the same way with thoughts, except they're much more subtle. Very, 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 very subtle. And they want to pull you in and trip you up. It's that simple. So what you must simply do is watch them from mental distance, from the neutral zone. So now you see the importance of meditation. There is a spiritual dimension, and what you must do is practice your meditation, and then whatever comes, it comes. Just watch it and meditate. If you wake up during the night, for example, feeling pressure, then just meditate. Meditate for objectivity. Meditate to get a little closer to your ground of being. And you will be safe. When the soul cries out to God, when the soul watches, wonders, doesn't know what to do, but makes a silent inquiry of God, then the dark things are afraid of that. When they see you calling upon God, you understand? So sometimes little children at night, little children see things, dark, scary things at night. I think most children do. I certainly did. Dark and scary things. Well, then the good parent, when the little child comes running into mom's bedroom and daddy's bedroom and said there's something scary, then the good parent will often, possibly, make a little bed for the child in their room. Not with them necessarily, but the child can have its own little bed. Its own little bed in mommy's and daddy's bedroom, and the little child can sleep there for a while, for a few nights, or have a little bed there so the child can come and sleep there if the child needs to. Because there are scary things, but the protection of the child is the parent's awareness. Awareness is a very powerful thing, because when you are aware, you are watching, and the bad things, see, you watch them. And the naughty thoughts, see, you watch them, and they flit away. See, it's very beautiful. Just like there's a beautiful sky, and then the clouds come, and then the sun shines upon the clouds, and the wind blows, and they disperse. So, I think I will stop at this point, having put a little final touch upon this little, looks like it's going to be a 4-part series. 4 parts? No, actually 5, I think. It's very beautiful. I hope you enjoy it.